What is going on, guys? So coming at you today with a bit of a special deck profile. I just want to wish everybody a happy Halloween, and for those of you who don't celebrate it or whatever, this is just going to be a normal deck profile. But those of you who do celebrate Halloween or whatever, this is going to be a terrifying. This is the only kind of deck I can actually find that was kind of scary, but I was waiting for Halloween to do something like this. As you can see, Edgem Cotton Eater was one of the new supports that came out in Soul Fusion, so I'm going to show some of the new support that came out in Soul Fusion. So this is just a special. This is actually the current deck my girlfriend uses. The only thing that's mine is a few Link monsters, as you can see in the blue. That's probably it. But everything else she runs and she plays against it and stuff like that. So I'm going to be showcasing her deck and some of the choices she uses and stuff. And it just kind of fit into Halloween for all these spooky and scary creatures or whatever, even though they're like toys. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get into the scary ones. So we have two Edgem Cotton Eater. I'm not sure the general ratio people run of Cotton Eater, but I like him for his pendulum effect, which is all fusion monsters gain 300 attack, which helps because the whole deck works around kind of OZK and boosts all their attacks. And then if a Frightfur fusion monsters fusion summon to your field, except during the damage step, you get to draw a card. So every time you fusion summon, so if you're going to run the little combo with Sabertooth and a normal thing, you're going to be able to draw a couple of cards, which is really nice, and keep extending your combo pieces. Then when it's on the field, if this card is special, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Frightfur monster in your graveyard. You can only use effectively Edgem Cotton Eater once per turn. It is 2400 Peter, so it's not too bad. So that's just one of the cards, and you can use it for different things like Kraken and stuff, because Kraken doesn't actually specify, if I'm not mistaken. If I can find Kraken. Kraken just says an Edgem monster, so you can still use it as a fusion material for Kraken as well. And Kraken's probably one of the best Frightfur monsters in the deck. Next, two Edgem Sabers. Was wondering, should I swap it to one? But Edgem Sabers, I sometimes actually still like to draw on it just to use as a fusion material or whatever. He has the effect to bring himself back in the graveyard, but at the minute I'm just using him as the fusiony type thing. Then we have the best Edgem monster by far is Edgem Chain, because it searches your Frightfur fusion when it's sent to the graveyard. If it declares an attack, you can add an Edgem Chain from your deck to your hand. So it's a level 4. But just as soon as you fusion it in your hand, you get a Frightfur fusion, so you can go for those 2 fusions if you wanted. Like, it is pretty good that way. It's just a good card. Then you should run 3 Dog. Dog is your Stratos for the deck. You just get to search either Edgem Sabers or one of your Fluffle monsters when it's normal or special summoned. So there's that, which is nice. Then we have 2 Owl. I think Owl is a perfect 2 for Owl is a perfect ratio. It searches your polymerization and it gets to fuse, so you can use this and another card, an Edgem card, to fuse into Kraken, let's say, and then with your polymerization you can go into Sabertooth, which is one of the main plays. So Owl is just really good. The only problem is you do have to, it's normal or special summon, but yeah, it's hard when you're normal, have Dog and this, and in normal summon, you can only summon normal summon 1 kind of thing, so it's difficult that way. And then we have 2 Penguin. Penguin, when it's normal, or during your main phase, you can special summon a Fluffle monster from your hand, except a Fluffle Penguin, and then if it's used as fusion material, you can draw 2 cards and discard a card. So it's got kind of a couple of effects there, but it's a nice card, very good card as well. Then for a bit of our draw engine, we're running 3 Bear. Bear you discard for Toy Vendor, and that's pretty much all it does. You can also, when normal summon it, and tribute it and get a polymerization from your deck, but the main thing you're going to be doing is discarding it for Toy Vendor. Self-explanatory. Then we have 3 Wings. So Wings, I'm actually running so the Wings you need to get into the graveyard mainly, because when Wings in the graveyard, you can banish it, target a Toy Vendor on your field, destroy the Toy Vendor and draw a card, and then banish another Fluffle monster, destroy a card, and then when Toy Vendor goes to the graveyard, you get to search out one of your Edgem Sabers or Fluffle monsters. So you're drawing a lot of cards off next to nothing. So let's say you do normal some of this, there's no way to get it off the field, you can't fusion it, you can actually send it for Link Karibo. So that's the Link monster I'm running with, so it's actually pretty good that way. That's what that card does, basically. Running the 1 Octopus. This is one, I like Octopus. I don't know why I like Octopus. It just helps with some of your stuff that's actually got banished from Frightfur Fusion. You can bring it back to the graveyard, or add it to your hand and stuff. It does a couple of things like that. And then the 1 Cat When it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you get to tag a polymerization from your graveyard and add it to your hand. So it's a nice little thing. Those are the last two Fluffle monsters I run. A lot of people, I'm not sure if they're running rabbits still. I haven't actually looked into a lot of Frightfur stuff, but yes, I'm sure you can change it. Maybe if you want to run 2Cat, you can run 2Cat. But I just like Octopus because it's cute. Okay, next we have 2 King of the Swamp. This is just what she's running at the minute. King of the Swamp is good as a searcher for polymerization, so you just discard it, search polymerization, or you can use this as any of the Edgem Sabers, or stuff like Frightfur Bear. You can use it as Bear or whatever. It has to be a specific listed name on the fusion material, and you can use it as a substitute. Next, for the best card in the deck is Frightfur Patchwork. You can add an Edgem Saber monster, or an Edgem monster, and a polymerization to your hand for nothing, for absolutely nothing. So you get to go +1 straight away. And Patchwork, we've been waiting so long for it to come out, and it's just a great card. And it's so eerie, the picture, if you look at it. That's the essence of Halloween right there. Scary toys and stuff. So yeah, so it's just a really good card. I mean, you're just going +1 and you're getting basically all your materials for your fusion summon, which is what this deck's all about. And then we have 3 Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor, you can discard a card, draw a card. If it's a Fluffle monster, you get special summon it. If not, send it to the graveyard. A lot of the time, you actually get lucky because you're running so many Fluffle monsters, you're going to special summon them. And a lot of them, like just say Cat Owl or Dog, you're going to benefit. Or even Penguin, a lot of them you're actually going to benefit from, which is very good. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, like by the effects of Wings or whatever, like can send it to the graveyard, you get to search an Edgem Sabers or a Fluffle monster. So it's good that way. It's definitely a 3 of. Then 3 Frightfur Fusion, a little bit less important, just because of Master Rule 4, I think. It just seems like a little bit more of a dead draw, even though you can search it with Chain. I'm not sure if I'd run 3, maybe a lot of people run 3. It is good as like a backup card if your fusion monsters do get destroyed and then you have them all in the graveyard. And then Octopus works well with it as well. So there is that, and the artwork is wicked on it. Then, not sure if everyone's running 3 polymerization, but polymerization I feel is good because I like to draw. You need. Actually, I suppose you do need 3 polymerization. You want to get it to your hand as soon as possible. You want a fusion as quick as possible. You just want polymerization. You want to go for your fusion plays are the only way to win in this duel. It's just based on that. Then we have 2 Foolish Burial Goods. So the Foolish Burial Goods is just to send your Toy Vendor to the graveyard to search. And that's really all it is used for. You can actually swap out one of these for Foolish Burial to send your Wings to the graveyard as well. Maybe you could do that. That's an option as well. The 1 Soul Charge for bringing stuff back, and then the 1 Suture Rebirth, so you can target a Fluffle or a Frightfur monster from the graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. So a little, you can swap that for Monster Reborn. I just wanted it as more of a like theme deck as well, and it's her choices as well, I suppose. So let's get into the extra deck. The extra deck is Frightfur Chimera is the first one. Frightfur Chimera is a really cool card. It's epically looking, and it requires a lot of monsters. But if you're using Frightfur Fusion and you have all your Frightfur monsters sent to the graveyard and you're about to lose whatever, you can go for Frightfur Chimera. It's a 2800 beater, and it's got a long ass effect. Actually, not sure what it is. So it says, cannot be special summoned by other ways, has to be fusion summoned. If this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent cannot activate card effects until the end of the damage step. So it's got like Ancient Gear kind of effect. Your opponent cannot, or where is it? Okay, so when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends its graveyard special summon that monster to the side of the field, but its attack is halved, you can only use Frightfur Chimera once per turn. This card gains 300 attack for each monster you control by that effect. So I mean, not a great card, not a bad card, but it does look cool. Don't know how many times you're going to be going into it. So if you want, swap it out, whatever you guys want. Then we're running 2 Sabertooth. Sabertooth is just a boss card. So basically what you want to do is you want to fusion summon a monster and then you want to fuse it with something else. If you use more than 2, so say you have a Frightfur monster and then an Edgem Sabers or a Fluffle or 2 Fluffles or 2 Edgem Sabers. This card can be sure by battle or card effects, which makes it that little bit stronger. And then for every Frightfur monster on the field gains 400 attack, which is very, very good. And a lot of the time, just what you're doing is like that with Owl, you fuse, paying 500 life points with Owl's effect, fuse up that and an Edgem monster, go for something like Kraken, and then with the polymerization you have, and hopefully you have another Fluffle or Frightfur monster in your hand, you go like that and do that. The next card for one of your OTK cards is Tiger. Tiger, when it has basically the materials it's used for fusion summoning, you can use that many and destroy that many cards on the field. So that's how you wipe out your opponent's field. Also against 300 for each Frightfur monster on the field. So two Frightfur monsters against 600, 3 is 900. So very, very good that way. And I really like it. Then probably one of the best, the other best one, there's a lot of best cards, is Kraken. This one kind of shot up in price as well, actually, I'm not too sure. But this one basically has non-targeting, actually it does target, but it can just send it to the graveyard, so it doesn't destroy it. It can make 2 attacks, and then when it does attack, it changes the defense position, which is 3000, which is crazy. It takes 1 Edged monster, 1 Fluffle monster, so it's very generic in the deck, so you don't really need much, and it's the one of the easiest to summon, but I really, really like it. The next one is Frightfur Wolf. Frightfur Wolf used to be one of the main bases of your OTK. So basically you go for Tiger to finish the field and then summon Wolf with Frightfur Fusion. And Frightfur Wolf can attack the amount of times the materials. So normally all you need is really 4 materials for it to be used. But yeah, it can still be done. It's just a little bit harder now with the Master Rule 4. Then we have Frightfur Leo. Frightfur Leo is just Edge Saw and a Fluffle monster, so you're going to use your King of the Swamps to summon this card, but it does have a nice little effect. It can target a monster, destroy it, and then your opponent loses life points equal to its attack, which is really cool. Then we have one of our biggest beaters is a generic 1 Edged monster and a Fluffle monster, and then if it destroys a monster by battle, you can inflict half the damage, or I think it's like 500. Let me just read the card. When this card destroys a opponent's monster by battle, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. If this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field, because an opponent's card effect and the owner controls it, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. And it's 3000 attack, so straight away with something like Saberdew on the field, it becomes 34, which is crazy high attack. Very, very good. Then just for the theme, Frightfur Bear. Frightfur Bear, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can basically equip that monster to it, and it gains 1000 attack for each equipped monster, so it becomes 32 after it destroys a monster. So that's it for the fusion cards. For the extra deck, we're going to go for very generic stuff. Borreload, Topologic, Bomber Dragon, Gaia Saber, Nightmare Phoenix, and Link Karibo. But feel free to run anything, any type of Link monsters you want to help out your deck. So that's it for the video, guys. Like I said, please have a very spooky Halloween, and I hope everybody went trick-or-treating and did all that kind of stuff today. It's coming to like 12 o'clock where I am now. Not quite 12 o'clock, so I'm going to get this video as quick as I can before it does become 12 o'clock and it's not Halloween anymore. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe.